Hey, Wild Souls, this is Elle,
And Kerri.
your host of Seasonal Reflections. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or a curious soul taking your first steps on this path, Seasonal Reflections is your compass to navigate the ever turning wheel of life.
And if you're ready to explore the intersection of science and spirituality, then we invite you to listen to our podcast and become part of our community. We're creating a space where myths come to life and your connection with nature deepens.
Hey, Wild Souls, I'm Elle.
And I'm Kerri. Modern Valentine's Day is often associated with commercialism in couples. In 2023 alone, we spent $25.9 billion on Valentine's. It's typically seen as a day filled with roses, chocolates, and pressure for romantic gestures. Social media doesn't help either. Grand romantic gestures strewn all over the internet only reinforces the idea that the only way you love someone is being over the top and extravagant. Your love isn't true if no one sees it or if you don't level up to your neighbors, coworkers, or miss PTA from your kid's school. It's like there's this societal pressure to be a part of a romantic duo, and it can make others feel left out or undervalued. It shouldn't be about competition, and it's time to expand our perspective. What if it's a chance to reconnect with your partner, indulge in self love, friendship, or familial connections?
This brings us to another episode of Seasonal Reflections. If you couldn't tell, we have a special episode about reframing Valentine's Day. Love's Kaleidoscope, crafting Valentine's Day for everyone. Whether you're single, coupled, or celebrating friendship, we've got ideas lined up for you. But first, what is a brief history of Valentine's Day, Kerri?
Yeah, the history of Valentine's Day is rooted in both Christian and ancient Roman traditions. And over time, it has evolved into a celebration of love and affection. The exact origins are somewhat unclear, and the holiday has undergone various transformations throughout history. Some attribute this holiday to commemorate St. Valentine's death around 270 AD, while others propose a Christianization effort to dismantle a pagan festival of Lupercalia. Lupercalia, celebrated on February 15th, was a Roman fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture and the founders of Rome. During Lupercalia, Roman priests, known as Luperci, would sacrifice a goat and a dog using the goat's hide to lightly strike women and fields in the belief that it will increase fertility in both women and agricultural production for the year. Contrary to fear, it is said that women welcomed these touches, believing it would enhance their fertility in the upcoming year. Legend holds that women would place their names in an urn, and bachelors would choose a name, often leading to marriages after coupling.
The association with St. Valentine, a Christian martyr, began in the 5th century. There are multiple legends about different saints named Valentine, but the most cited one is about a priest named Valentine, who defied Emperor Claudius II's ban on marriages for young men. Okay, go Valentine. The emperor believed soldiers would fight and be more strategic if they had no wife or children waiting for them. Valentine continued to perform marriages in secret and was eventually executed for his actions. The Romantics, like Chaucer, Shakespeare, and other poets of the time, contributed to the romanticization of the day. Handwritten love notes became popular in the 17th century, and by the 18th century, it was common for people to exchange small tokens and handwritten messages. It wasn't until the 19th century, when printing technology increased, that commercially produced cards became widely available. So, what's the problem? Handwritten love notes and small gestures seems like a lovely idea.
Well, like we said before, it just became too commercialized, thus leading to competition and the loss in the meaning of expressing love. A Psychology Today survey mentioned that 40% of people surveyed have negative feeling towards this day. I think the reasoning depends on one's current situation. From my observations of friends and social media, it seems that single people are made to feel bad or even pitied if they are happy single or haven't found someone worth committing to. Couples may feel guilty expressing their love on outlets where single friends may see. People may feel judged if they don't care about the holiday and if they are non traditional or don't have the finances to do something extravagant. We've lost the reason to celebrate. It's more of a commercialization and chance to show off on social media to put a price on love or be punished. To emphasize the opportunity for connection, whether in a romantic, self-love, or friendship context, it's worth looking into. It could be a fun exploration into ways to celebrate and discover how you want to be loved or how you should think about giving love. Not just on this day, but on a consistent basis, for we are ever evolving. Let's start the journey with ourselves. That seems like a good foundational place. Elle, are there some interesting, fun ways we can try and discover how we may like to receive love or what we look for in a partner so we can become more aware of this?
Well, some ways we can do this is, and this has become popular more recently, is looking at our love languages and astrological aspects found in our natal chart. For more information on your natal chart, we recommend astro.com. You just put in your name, birth date, and place, the time if you have it, or if you can track that down. That will give you very specific information, and it'll create an ephemeris wheel natal chart for free. You can use the Everything You Need to Know About Astrology book to help read what the chart means. And first things first, the concept of love languages, popularized by Dr. Gary Chapman in his book, The Five Love Languages. It suggests that individuals express and receive love in different ways. Chapman identifies 5 primary love languages, each representing a distinct way that people prefer to receive affection and connection. Understanding these love languages can help individuals communicate love more effectively in their relationships. Here's a brief overview of each love language. Words of affirmations. Individuals with this love language appreciate verbal expression of love and appreciation. Compliments, words of encouragement, and affirming statements make them feel valued and loved. Acts of service. For those with this love language, actions speak louder than words. They feel loved when others perform acts of service for them, such as helping with tasks, doing chores, or making thoughtful gestures. And I want to just add a little bit here. If you have to ask what the thing is, it's not an act of service anymore, because there is something called the mental load. And if the person has to think about that, because acts of service is one of mine, if someone's like, oh, just tell me what to do and I'll help you, and I'm like, you're no longer helping because I have to make a list or give you a task or think of the thing, that's also another job.
Yes.
So giving someone a job is not doing the thing for them. It's thinking ahead of what they might need and anticipating that and doing the thing.
Yeah. If you know that your significant other makes dinner every night, but they hate like the prepping of it or something like that, go ahead and start that. Or maybe offer to make the dinner that night, or just tell them, actually, don't even offer it. Be like, I'm making dinner tonight. I saw that you were making tacos and quesadillas. I can handle that. Is that fine? And just doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But asking, how can I help with dinner? That just makes me feel like I have another job to do. No, thank you.
Yes.
Another one is receiving gifts. Some people, Leos, feel most loved when they receive tangible gifts. These gifts don't necessarily have to be extravagant. Even small tokens that show thoughtfulness and effort can convey love to individuals with this love language. Quality time is another one. It involves giving someone undivided attention, engaging in meaningful conversations, spending time together without distractions. Put your phone away.
Yes.
Sharing activities, creating a sense of connection for individuals who prioritize this love language. I mean, who doesn't? Just put your phone away in general when you're talking to people. It's rude.
Right.
In case you wanted to know how I really felt. Physical touch is primarily the love language for people who like physical touch. They express themselves through hugs, kisses, holding hands, and other physical gestures, and that fosters a sense of closeness and connection for them.
So it's important to note that in my experience, I believe as we evolve, and the level of each language can shift. It's not set in stone. At one point, it could be quality time, but that doesn't mean that's the only one you focus on, right? It's a good idea to understand everyone needs all 5. but we can put more emphasis on the primary and secondary ones we need over time. For me, I think effective communication and understanding each other's love languages, kind of being aware and getting to know the person that you're with, can enhance relationships by ensuring that the partners feel loved and appreciated in ways that resonate with them personally. It also helps you understand how to love yourself. For example, if words of affirmation are important to you, you may want to start feeding that to yourself with internal validation. And then if external validation comes after, it's just icing on the cake. I recognize that after divorce, words of affirmation and quality time were the highest on my list. I think everyone can agree it can be kind of an ego hit, no matter the parties involved or how it happened, whether that's divorce or an ending of a partnership, friendship, anything. I also felt I lacked a lot of quality time in the years previous. I decided to find ways to create internal validation and spend time with friends who mattered to me so that those could be fulfilled. Eventually, I had to relearn how to enjoy my own time instead of requiring friends to fill the need for me. Let's be clear, it's great to have friends and hang out with them, but after going through a hard time, one must wonder if it's just for fun or distraction to avoid fully grieving that loss. None of my friends made me feel guilty for hanging out with them all the time, or they never felt pressured to invite me for holidays. They want to be there for me, but I also needed to kind of take accountability for why I needed those distractions. Over time, my love languages evolved, and quality time is still up there. So I knew it's important to have that when looking at potential partners, despite being able to fill it myself. Words of affirmation moved down a bit, and I knew it was important, but maybe not as important. And gifts have always been dead last, usually a score of 0. And it's not to say that I don't like gifts. And yes, I'm a Taurus, and basic sun sign astrology would give gifts as a number 1, but it has to be thoughtful. That's it. Not necessarily grand, expensive, et cetera, just thoughtful. And the reason why I say this is because I have had a partner where, I asked for like a lemon tree, or I asked for a kayak, and I was very explicit about the things that I wanted, but instead, they went with whatever the males in their family bought for all the women. So I would get extravagant bracelets that cost way more than either of those items, and 5 years would go by and I'm like, I still haven't gotten my lemon tree or my kayak. And it just felt, apparently I was supposed to, that partner felt bad because I should have been grateful. And the family members think I should have been grateful. And I was grateful that I got the gift, but at the same time, it hurt because I felt unheard and I didn't feel thought of. I just thought of, oh, every woman must like jewelry, so that's what you get.
I mean, and there are a lot of people who would be really excited about those gifts.
Exactly.
So I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
My partner tends to buy me things that I don't understand that I need at the time, but later I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But like usually I'm like the year before last, he got me a dehydrator, and I was like, why is he buying me a dehydrator? I'm an herbalist. Of course he bought me a dehydrator. It makes perfect sense. He got tired of me using collapsible clothes hangers all over our house from March till November and creating, for me, it was easier for me to turn my closet into like an area where we could not get into and put 3 dehumidifiers in there.
Yes.
Than to logically think, oh, I need a dehumidifier.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then the first year that I had it, I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? It's running nonstop from March.
The dehydrator. You use it all the time. You talk about it all the time.
But at first I was like, this is ridiculous. I didn't want this. I didn't ask.
Yeah, but he anticipated it because he understood things that you liked. He probably read online and was like, this makes sense. Right. And you didn't ask for it. It's incredibly thoughtful.
I think he just got tired of shifting all of my
that
makeshift
too.
things around.
Okay, we're trying to give him a little bit more credit here. Okay,
I'm kidding.
So, do you have any other thoughts on love languages?
I mean, honestly, I think the love language formula is a great structure for those who have a hard time reading their partner's needs, and it's a way to communicate their own needs. Some people need that. Other people, like apparently my partner, is a little more keyed in onto what I need, even though I don't know I need them.
It's a great partnership.
I do think it is good to have that like kind of blueprint.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
so
but that's
yeah,
not the only way to figure it out. But yeah, it's
absolutely.
a nice structure to start with. What astrological
Mm,
aspects can we look at to identify how we may give or
mm.
receive love? What compatibility might we be seeking that we can use either in conjunction with those love languages, or if we don't necessarily resonate with that, we could have fun adventuring those natal charts.
Yeah, so we can look at your Venus sign. The Venus is traditionally Aphrodite, the goddess of love. So, how we love, how we want to be loved. We can look at where Mars is and what Mars is ruling in your natal chart. Mars is the god of war, which sounds weird, but also think of like libido. Think of like not necessarily aggression, but just that like um so Mars rules Aries, but it also rules Scorpio, and Scorpios are known to have that libido, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Mars rules the libido essentially. It's a little more, there's a little more to it, but we can start with that. And you're going to look at your seventh house, which is ruled by Libra and Venus. And then if you want to get real specific, we can look to the asteroids. There's Juno, Psyche, Eros, and also the moon. So the Venus sign is the planet, like I said, associated with love, beauty, and attraction. And understanding your partner's Venus can provide insights into their romantic preferences and values. For example, individuals with Venus in Gemini, like Kerri,
Mm-hmm.
are attracted to partners who stimulate them intellectually and valuing witty and engaging conversations in their relationships. Known for their adaptability, they thrive on a variety of change, enjoying the excitement that comes with trying new activities and exploring diverse interests. Playful and flirtatious, they appreciate a lighthearted and fun loving atmosphere in their romantic interactions. Effective communication is a cornerstone for them, expressing love through both spoken and written words. They're social butterflies and they enjoy being surrounded by people, attending social events, and maintaining a wide circle of friends. Now, if your Venus is in something like a little more introverted, that might pose a problem. Like, why is my
Mm-hmm.
partner like always out doing these things? So their curious and open-minded nature, coupled with the love of learning, makes them attracted to partners who encourage intellectual growth and the exploration of new ideas.
There is nothing that makes a relationship more stale to me than a lack of communication and a lack of conversation.
Right? So that
You
makes
could be
sense.
you could be sexy as all get out, but if you have nothing to say, bye.
I mean, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
My Venus is in Sag, so I'm like, let's do new things. It's the sister sign of Gemini, but I want to do all of these things in a foreign place. Then we're gonna look at our Mars sign. Mars, like I was saying, is a planet of passion and desire. Exploring your partner's Mars sign can shed light on their approach to intimacy, their sex drive, and the way they express their desires. Mars is also known as Aries, the god of war. So, this is going to indicate how you fight, so to speak. For example, if your Mars is in the watery side of Cancer, it could come out as passive aggressiveness. And if your Mars is in Capricorn or Taurus, it could signal a more earthy approach, like ignoring the problem until it bursts at the seams.
No comment.
This is important because how we handle being upset is another form of communication, essentially. So if you like want your partner to do something and you don't know how to communicate it, and you're passive aggressive about it, oh no, it's fine, it's fine, and it's not really fine, then your partner has like an air Venus. They're either going to make you communicate about it or they're just going to be like, I can't handle this because I don't know why you're upset. You said it was
Mhm.
fine, but clearly it's not. So another place that we can look is our seventh house, and this is kind of like the arena that it plays out. um, it's traditionally associated with partnerships and marriages, and examining the planets and signs in this house can provide insights into relationship dynamics. Carrie has Jupiter and Uranus and Sagittarius in her seventh house, and with Jupiter and Sag in the seventh, this individual approaches partnerships with expansive and optimistic views. seeking growth and shared experiences, and the desire for freedom within committed relationships is prominent. Fostering joy and learning through diverse connections, encountering different perspectives becomes a crucial theme for personal and intellectual growth. I feel like any kind of Sag placement with seventh house or Venus, this would be true for, or just Sagittarians in general. Contemplating this, and then with Uranus and Sag in the seventh house, adds an unconventional and freedom seeking layer to relationship, fostering a desire for excitement and independence within committed bonds. So, just by us knowing a couple planets in her seventh house, it gives us that much information, right? So, if you can look at your seventh house and you don't have anything there, see what and this is where the birth time is really important. We can see what the ruling element or sign for that house is, and you can pick up some information through that. Then we're going to look at a little asteroid named Juno. It's associated with committed relationships, marriage, and soulmates. So those of you that know mythology, this is also Hera. So all of the stories associated with her. I'm not going to get into that right now, but if you're interested, you can look it up. Its placement in the birth chart can reveal information about long-term partnerships. She represents our capacity for meaningful relationships and how we can work on them. Juno, through the signs, represent 12 different styles of relating to others and meeting our needs. So that's another like blueprint we could use instead of the love languages. You could look up your Juno. And the house placements are the likely venue where these need to be played out, or where we learn our most important relationship lessons. Like, I think it would be interesting to look at people's charts. You know how like people have like work wives or work husbands? I wonder if a lot of those people have like Juno in their 10th house. Like,
Right, yes.
you know what I mean? Like, because I've always thought that. I've never felt like that with somebody at work ever. But I know some people who are like really committed to their like work spouse. And I'm like,
Yes.
I bet they all just have like some kind of Juno aspect up there. But my Juno is in Virgo, so mine plays out in very boring ways. Jamin and I have like check-ins every day. We talk about very practical, like what do we need to do in the house? What does this need to happen? What's going on today? What are the kids doing? Like very day to day, like kind of monotonous, like Virgo-y things. We both enjoy talking about those, and we check in with that. That's how mine plays out. Yours is in Pisces in your 11th house, and it suggests that you like to seek deep spiritual connections with your partner. So if anyone likes deep spiritual connections, I have the lady for you.
Leave me out of this. Unless you are. No, I'm just kidding.
6'5". No. There may be a desire for compassionate and empathetic partner who shares their ideas and visions for a better world. Anybody? Any takers? I'm kidding.
I'm gonna cut them.
Good thing you're the editor, not me. Relationship commitments may involve a sense of unity and understanding of collective dreams and aspirations. I mean, Pisces is the opposite of Virgo, the sister sign of Virgo. I would say this applies to me as well, right? I like a nurturing sense of interconnectedness and shared ideas within my partnership. That is significant for me.
Yeah.
So, and you do this for everything, whatever you read for your sign or your planet in something sign, read the opposite one too. So if your Venus is in, let's say, Leo, read Venus and Leo, but also read Venus and Aquarius. And I recommend doing that for all of the things, because I think you will find insights that you wouldn't see otherwise, because each sign and its opposite are two sides of the same coin. So I get a lot of insight that way. We can go pop over to Psyche and Eros. Just pop right over there. Eros represents erotic desire, while Psyche is associated with emotional bonding. Their positions in a birth chart may offer insights into individuals' approach to deep, soulful connections.
So for the moon represents emotions and inner feelings. Understanding your partner's moon sign can provide insight in their emotional needs and how they nurture and connect with others on an emotional level. For existence, this can also be a relationship with friends. So when it comes to friendship, my moon is in Capricorn, and L having a moon in Cancer, and our birth charts contribute to a complementary and supportive dynamic in our friendship. I likely approach emotions with a practical and grounded demeanor. Capricorn moons tend to be disciplined, responsible, and focus on long term goals. They may provide stability and structure to the friendship, offering practical advice and steady emotional presence. L's moon is in Cancer, suggests a more nurturing and emotional, sensitive approach. Cancer moons are known for their nurturing qualities, empathy, and strong emotional connections. L may bring in a warmth and caring energy to the friendship, emphasizing the importance of emotional bonds and creating a supportive environment. The combination of Capricorn and Cancer moons can create this like balanced friendship where my practicality complements L's emotional sensitivity, and I may offer stability and guidance during challenging times, while L provides a nurturing and empathetic space for emotional expression.
And food.
And food. See, that is a part of nurturing an empathetic space for emotional expression. Thank you for the lunch today. Okay. So, compatibility aspects. So, sometimes on like astro.com, you can go on, you can look at synastry and composite charts to assess astrological compatibility with you and your partner. You can look for harmonious aspects between Venus, Mars, and the moon in each other's charts. Remember, it's not just your sun sign. Certain signs can get a bad rap, but there's no truth to the I can't date this person because he's a Gemini. I mean that's me married to a Gemini person. But anyways, even I can still say that it's not just that. Okay.
I mean, as a Scorpio, I relate to this because we are seriously misunderstood.
Right?
We are one of those signs that everyone's like, oh, Scorpios. I'm like,
right? And I'm like, I love you.
Clear jets.
So if one is going to speak about astrological compatibility, they must look at both charts. It can be useful in determining the potential positives you both bring and what challenges you may need to overcome. It's not saying you're going to have these challenges and this relationship now. It's saying, be aware that this might be something that you guys need to work on.
Right. So like my Mars is in the same sign as Jabin's Venus. So with them both being in Capricorn, it signifies like a harmonious alignment of the energies in our relationship. Capricorn as an earth sign brings qualities of practicality, ambition, and long-term planning. So the shared placement of Mars and Venus suggests that we share similar values, which we do. And it helps us like foster a deep understanding for our approach to love and our relationship in general. And an interesting way that this is played out is that like Capricorn is also like a long-term thing, and Mars is like a go-getter, like we're going to do this. So it's like assertive. So we became landlords together. Like and this gave us a shared project like that Mars while building for our future in Capricorn. And I feel like doing that collaboratively helped us build like a stable connection and then have something that we were working towards together. We had like a shared goal. So that's always, if your Mars is in the same sign as your partner's Venus, I highly recommend that. Like if you see that, you're like, ooh, that's good. As long as you're both in your power with those energies, that's a good gauge. I would look at that more than say a sun sign combination. Like everyone's like, oh, Scorpios and Aquarians don't get along. I cannot tell you how many Aquarians I know married to Scorpios. Like so many. So
some of my longest relationships were with signs that technically aren't great for Taurus. Gemini, Aquarius, Aries, like all of those are my longest relationships. When I've tried signs that were supposedly good for me, they didn't last as long.
Well, but your Venus is in Gemini, so it makes sense. Like, there's what we're saying is there's more to it than just your sun sign.
Yes.
So now that we've explored the dynamics of love languages and delved into celestial insights offered by astrological aspects, it's time to turn our attention inward. Love, in all its forms, begins with the foundation of self-acceptance and care. And this next segment will embark on a journey of self-love, drawing inspiration from an ancient African myth that beautifully encapsulates the essence of self-care and empowerment. So grab a cup of tea, settle into the comfort of your space, and let's explore the profound significance of cultivating love within ourselves.
So our self-love story comes from the rich tapestry of Yoruba-Nigerian mythology. featuring the captivating goddess Oshun. Oshun, the Orisha of love, fertility, and rivers, embodies the essence of love. Her story, passed down through generations, imparts profound lessons of love, self care, and empowerment. Oshun is considered one of the Orishas, most powerful deities representing aspects of the natural and spiritual world in the Yoruba mythology. She is the youngest and favorite to Olodumare, which, again, I'm not quite sure the exact pronunciation, so please don't come after me. It is Olodumare, the creator of the universe and all of the Orishas. So, Ocean, known for her beauty, compassion, and nurturing qualities, her story varies in detail across traditions, but the core themes remain consistent. The myth often involves her undertaking a journey to save the world from the great crisis, be it from drought, war, or famine. One prevailing episode in her story includes her possession of a sacred calabash containing powerful secrets and blessings, which she used to heal and nurture the world. In the book Ocean, the ultimate guide to an Orisha of Yoruba and Santeria, the divine feminine, and Ifa, the author tells us that at one time there were 12 Orishas, her being the only female. Each one had a part in the development of the earth and all of its beings. She felt she was never heard, as the others were constantly telling her that she lacked the ability to get things done because she is female and the smallest. One day, the Orishas, wanting more power because they believed they were doing all the work, tried to remove Olodumare from power over the earth. Olodumare heard of the plans, and in anger and confusion, he decided to hurt them by punishing the beings on earth. There came mass droughts, famine, wars. The list goes on. It was endless torture and suffering. The Orishas, immediately full of regret, tried to reconcile with him to no avail. It was too far for them to travel, except for the Orisha messenger, and he came back with no resolution. Ocean, frustrated by the whole situation, took matters into her own hand. They didn't want her help. They didn't believe, the other Orishas didn't believe that she was capable of doing anything that they tried at all. So she became a peacock and flew all the way to Olodumare, arriving in terrible shape, her feathers all burned off due to the distance traveled and closeness to the sun. He took pity on her state and healed her. She was then transformed into a beautiful vulture. He spoke of how he was touched by her sacrifice to fly all the way there, starved, beaten, burned, and in her last life, so that she may bring peace to the beings on earth. It showed that she should be a well-respected Orisha, one who was determined, strong, caring, and resilient. She traveled back to Earth, and the Orishas, having heard the news, apologized and respected her thoughts and opinions from there on out. Her journey inspires individuals to embrace their strengths, recognize their beauty, and face life's challenges with determination. Her connection to rivers, particularly the Ocean River, symbolizes the fluidity in life. Her story encourages navigating challenges with grace and flexibility, akin to a river flowing with resilience. And let's not forget her association with fertility. People seek Ocean's blessing for matters related to childbirth and family, celebrating through various ceremonies and offerings. She's also known for that fluidity, that sexuality. She says, just embrace your body, embrace yourself, embrace all of it.
So, what I'm hearing, there are some key elements that highlights these themes. First and foremost, Ocean makes sacrifices for the greater good. Very Aquarian. These acts reflect her deep compassion and love for others, teaching the lessons that self-love involves sacrifice for the community's empowerment. True empowerment, according to her story, comes from knowing oneself and using that knowledge for positive change. Her story encourages individuals to approach life's challenges with determination and recognizing that inner strength and self love are crucial for overcoming difficulties. Her association with rivers symbolizes that fluidity is needed in life, and navigating challenges with grace and flexibility is an empowering aspect of her story. Ocean's character, often depicted as a beautiful and feminine goddess, encourages the celebration of acceptance of one's own beauty. This extends beyond physical appearance, encompassing the acknowledgement of one's unique qualities and strengths. Devotees often offer sweet fruits and personal belongings to honor and express gratitude to Ocean. She willingly makes sacrifices for humanity, involving personal possessions and enduring trials for the well being of her worshippers. In summary, Ocean's story is a powerful narrative which is rich in lessons of self love, empowerment, and the strength needed to face life's challenges. Her journey serves as an inspiration for embracing inner qualities, navigating difficulties with resilience, and contributing positively to the broader community.
So, how can we take these lessons and use them in our everyday life as well as Valentine's Day? We could identify our love languages and create a day for ourselves. We can look at our natal charts. Let's just say, even a ritual on Valentine's Day for each year. Since when do these love languages need to apply to relationships only, right? Teaching people how you like to be loved. How about we recognize our needs and then treat ourselves the way we want to be treated by others? As a mom, there was a time where I just gave and gave because it made me and others feel good. But eventually it had led to a burnout or my cup not being filled. It's good to create boundaries and it's okay to do things for yourself within reason. I treat myself to, say, a pedicure, reflexology every month to every other month. It feels good to take care of myself and feed my touch and acts of service love languages by having my tired muscles massaged. Walking in nature, sitting outside, and doing work on gorgeous days gives me quality time with myself as well as nature, and it doesn't require a whole lot of money. Setting realistic goals I want to achieve and accomplishing them and thanking myself feeds my words of affirmation, kind of like, get it, girl, you did a thing. I say that to myself and I encourage others to do the same. Maybe even a little dance every now and then, a little happy dance. On holidays, I buy myself gifts instead of expecting someone to do it for me. Who says I can't buy myself flowers, jewelry, or like that wicked cool outdoor recreational tool that I've been eyeing for a while? Elle, do you have any self care activities you do for yourself?
I mean, honestly, for the longest time, I had a hard time with self care. I blame growing up in late stage capitalism. Um, I felt the need to be productive all the time. And it took me a long time to realize that rest is productive. Taking care of myself is productive because I am in a better space to get work done and serve others if I serve myself and my needs first. I know it's a bit trite, but I love a good bath filled with Epsom salt and herbs. I also love to pre-mix myself teas. So I will get all my ingredients together and put everything together. So when I'm going to make a tea, it's already made. Or just to have a box of tea around that I really like so I can make it on the fly. And I like to just sit and have a nice hot cup of tea. I like things hot. I like my food hot. I like my tea hot. So sitting with that and being fully present with my tea or with my meal, really enjoy that. And bonus points if it's outside.
Right. There's a lot of things we definitely recommend sitting and kind of meditating and take the time to figure out how you like to be loved. One way I found this was that I was trying to decide if I was ready to actively date again. But I was kind of unsure where to start or if I was ready. I mean, I get it. I'm sure like you guys are also in it and I know what y'all are thinking and it can be real trash a trash can out there. But I truly believe that not every man or woman are the same. I feel like with each dating experience, I become more forthright in advocating for myself. I find ways to navigate my feelings and communicate in a healthier way. And if it ends, I know I did my best to create a healthy foundation for a relationship even if the other person did or did not. It still sucks, but I move on easier. And I like to share some with y'all some ways I did this, and maybe it can kind of help you out with your own self love or advocating for yourself in a relationship. So, first and foremost, I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I think talking to another person outside of your family and friends can really call you out, so to speak, on the crap that you need to work on. They can also help you navigate ways to communicate and validate things you have done. And just an FYI, if your insurance doesn't cover it, you could try like very new therapists that will do it for a cheaper price because they need clinical hours. And then some therapists also take Flex and HSA. So keep an eye out when doing research. And yes, I'm going to say meditate. There are many ways people do this. It doesn't have to be sitting in silence, although that can be helpful. I prefer guided meditation half the time. But, anyways, I recommend finding some quiet time and space to look at past dates or relationships. Identify what you like about your past partners, their actions, how they treated you, and what attracted you to them, and how you stayed attracted. Was it actions like dancing at home or cooking together, being silly? If negative feelings come up, which they naturally do, that's okay. But try only to write the positive moments down. And it's not meant to ignore the problems, but it's easier to go back and review what you appreciated in the relationships in general. It's important to have a more positive outlook on the past so you can bring that energy into the future, and a more confident, intentional energy in dating. Looking back on how you like to be treated in those relationships gives you an idea of how you like to love yourself. And that will only help in creating practices of self care. Finally, I'd like to discuss the armadillo. The spirit animal asks us to create boundaries. Armadillo, when it comes to everyday life, dating, and relationship in general, asks us not to cross those boundaries you have created. This will make it more pleasurable time, but it does require teaching those around you what you are or aren't willing to accept. So it's not an instant thing that happens. You're like, okay, I've created these boundaries, done. You have to create these boundaries, and you have to like practice them, and you have to teach them, and then people have to get used to that and realize like you're not trying to be a jerk, you're just trying to, allow people within that space without breaking boundaries.
Yes, boundaries are created by action, not just
Yes,
by words.
exactly. And it's not just for when you enter into the dating field or relationships. It can help you again with self-care and personal growth. Now that you've taken the time previously to recognize what you liked from past relationships, you can go even deeper and create your ideal partner list. This wasn't given to me by anyone. I didn't see this idea online, although I'm sure someone's thought of it. But I wanted to have a more positive idea of relationships, especially when you get kind of negative or down in the dumps. I took a sheet of paper and I wrote down with the decorative border that I created all that I was hoping for. I use this as a reference tool when I start dating potential partners. Reviewing this allows me to figure out if they are, or the relationship I'm developing is aligned with what I want or need. Keep in mind, it's important to highlight the importance of putting effort into relationships rather than easily moving on at the first sign of discomfort. Relationships take work, and when you find someone who aligns with your values, don't hesitate to invest time and energy into building a connection. Remember, the journey of self-love intertwines with the journey of building meaningful connections with others. I know this can be hard for a lot of people because there's so many apps and there's so many ways of meeting people that it feels like the first sign of distress, you're just gonna up and leave and you're going to find something else. There's always that like grass is greener on the other side.
It's almost like too many choices.
It is a paralysis of like, yeah, choices. And it's really hard to move past that. And I think it's really hard to find a partner where you're like, especially when I'm willing to work at something where I see the potential and I see what is happening and the potential of that growth. But if the other partners aren't ready, if the other partner's not willing to put in that work, because it's so easy to find the other option,
right?
Then it's left with a lot of people not being satisfied.
Now let's take a moment to celebrate a form of love that doesn't often get the spotlight it deserves: the love of friendship. Friendships are often the unsung heroes in the narratives of love, especially on Valentine's Day. Friendship is like a hidden gem, sometimes overshadowed by romantic relationships, yet it holds immense importance. It's there during the hard times, providing a steady anchor. And of course, it's there for fun times, creating memories that last a lifetime. True friends are supportive yet unafraid to call you on your BS. They share a connection through similar experiences: grief, loss, childhood memories, shared activities, and common morals. Just like in romantic relationships, expressing love in friendships is vital. Making time for getaways, having lunch, or enjoying a show together strengthens bonds. In many cases, friendships can even outshine romantic partnerships.
We won't tell Javis about that, though.
This thoughtfulness in friendship love languages goes both ways. It's a beautiful exchange that deepens the connection.
Very true, Elle. Friendship love languages are about keeping tabs on what matters to your friends. It's like dating them in a way. For me, I keep a spreadsheet, surprise, surprise, of my friends' likes and dislikes, knowing their favorite flowers, important events like birthdays, divorce events, marriages, kids' birthdays, being there during times of loss. Sometimes it can be hard for me to remember, So I acknowledge this, and by keeping the sheet, it helps me for my random acts of love that I like to create.
Oh, I wonder if someone sent you an Instagram reel about that. That's one of my love languages, Instagram reels. You are definitely the spreadsheet queen, Kerri. For me, I love to cook and give random gifts that I know people will like. And it's not just that they like what they need. Maybe Javen and I both do that. Like I'm
You
really
do.
good at anticipating what people will need, or if I have an herb, if someone expresses any kind of discomfort, I'm like, I've got a plant for that.
Mhm.
And I'm really quick to make a tea or a satchel or something that I think will help them during a rough patch.
Yes, you definitely feed my acts of service and my gift language.
That you said was 0, but I don't
Right.
believe
And
you.
it's 0 because it has to be thoughtful. If it's not thoughtful, there's no meaning behind it. I
But then
think
it's a 1 if it's thoughtful. I've decided it's number
right.
1.
I think everything you do is thoughtful, caring, and I love that about you.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, look at us getting sweet. But yeah, I definitely know you. You're always like, I got a plant for that. Or you hear me rant on one of our Marco Polos, and you're like, next time I see you, you're like, here.
Here's the exact thing that you need that you didn't know you needed.
Yes.
So, some things you can do on this day to celebrate with your friends can be a virtual or in person hangout. So, you can spend time together with people that make you feel amazing. Spa days are good, game night, painting. You celebrate friendship by organizing a Valentine's Day. I keep seeing this thing like a pinup brunch. I'm like, for Valentine's Day, I'm like, I feel like I need to go to the pinup brunch.
Well, one of our friends invited us to a Valentine's Day at her house. It's like lattes and
Oh,
mimosas.
that's right.
I'm planning on doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's on my calendar. Wait, is it on a Wednesday?
It's legitimately on Valentine's Day. Yeah.
When's Valentine's Day?
On a
Anyways,
Wednesday.
it'll work. Um, Send a love note highlighting the importance of your friendship, or buy them a thoughtful gift that reminds you of them or a memory you share, or make them something.
Right?
Perform a random act of kindness to a friend or even a stranger. So, for astrological aspects, traditionally the 11th house is the house of friends in the natal chart. So, if you're wondering how to connect with others or where to find friends, that would be a good place to start. For example, if you have Mercury in the 11th house, try going to a trivia game night at a local brewery. I have noticed some patterns over the years with close friends too, and I think one of the initial attractions is the sun rising sign combo. If the sun sign and the rising signs are in the same element, so like I'm a Scorpio, and if I meet someone who has a Cancer rising, we get along, like the initial attraction is there. Or if it's in like a compatible mode. And what I mean by that is like there's a fixed, mutable, and cardinal, like energetically for each element. If your sun sign and someone's rising sign are in the same mode, that tends to be an initial like friendly attraction. Venus and the moon also can influence relationships, specifically friendships, as like how we feel and how we make others feel. So that can resonate with how others love, like their Venus sign. But I think since the moon is involved, it's more of like a nurturing situation rather than a romantic one. And then one person's sun sign being the same as the friend's north node. I've seen that happen so many times. Like your Taurus and my north node is in Taurus. The north node is what we are karmically working towards in life, and we tend to draw people that are those things, if that makes sense. Like I've learned so much from you specifically on how to do things step by step, how to embrace self care. And those are all Taurian things that I need to learn how to do. And my life gets better when I can express those things and pick up those traits. And I've seen that a lot. I know you know a lot of Scorpio North Noder or
I
Taurus North Noders.
I have like a lot of my friends and a lot of the guys I've dated. When if I knew their chart, I look back just for the heck of it. It's kind
Yeah.
of fun to me to like
Yeah.
check this stuff out and see if there's any validity to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, everyone's a Taurus North Node. No wonder why they like me. They don't need a reason, but no.
Well,
but
your North
yes,
Node's in Gemini, and you were
it
married
is.
to a Gemini for a long time.
I
So
was. I have a lot of Gemini friends, including like my sister. So yeah, I'm very attracted to that. And then, Scorpio being the sister sign, I noticed I had a lot of like Scorpio friends as well. So I thought that was interesting. If you have other plans or are on a date, going back to that, you can still do something special for your good friends if you feel so inclined. As stated before, speak their love language, send flowers or thoughtful gifts, meet up for lunch later in the week, or let them know why you cherish their friendship. By shifting the focus from traditional romantic expressions to broader forms of love and appreciation, Valentine's Day can become an inclusive and enjoyable celebration for everyone, regardless of their relationship status. Looking for a playlist to set the self-love and friendship front, we've crafted a Spotify playlist called Heartbeats and High Fives, Jams for Me, Myself, and Mates. A
that is so cute.
I seriously love my titles. Please just go check them out. I put a lot of effort into this, and they're by beats per minute.
And when she says we, she means her. She made this.
Hey, now, once I start getting all the attention for it, you're gonna wish. No, I'm just kidding. It's a Valentine's playlist for self-love and friendship. So yeah, now let's explore the intricacies of reconnecting with a romantic partnership. To kick things off, let's hear Elle's thoughts on the topic to gain valuable insight.
Reconnecting in a partnership is crucial. Life gets busy, and sometimes we forget to nourish the emotional bond that brought us together in the first place. It's about rediscovering each other and creating moments that strengthen the connection. The thing about seasons in a relationship is it's kind of like actual seasons where it's progression and sometimes it's a progression. And sometimes things feel so effortless that they come up on you before you even know what's happening. Winter doesn't happen overnight, it's a slow burn. Sometimes the transition is so subtle you don't even know it's there until the house is under 5 feet of snow and you have to shovel yourself out. It reminds me of a timeless myth that beautifully encapsulates the essence of love and the trials faced in relationships.
Elle, I think the myth you might be referring to is that of Psyche and Eros, a tale that explores the depths of love, trust, and challenges that ultimately lead to a deeper connection of these concepts. The story, primarily found in Apuleius, the Golden Ass, from the 2nd century CE, is the source that I used for this. In this myth, we encounter Psyche, a mortal woman whose beauty captures the attention of Eros, the god of love and son of Venus. Psyche was the daughter of a king and the youngest of 3 daughters. People far and wide heard rumors of her true natural beauty, often referred to as Venus. She grew up being worshipped so much for her beauty that people stopped worshiping the true Venus. The goddess became enraged as her temples were abandoned and left in disarray. No garland or elaborate decorated altars, so she summoned her winged son, Cupid, also known as Eros, imploring him to punish Psyche by making her fall in love with an ugly and hideous monster. The thing is, despite having all this beauty, Psyche wasn't actually happy. She doesn't find pleasure in being worshipped or admired for her looks. Her sisters were married, but no one wanted to marry her. She was more of a thing to admire, not to tarnish or possess. But she yearned for true love. Her father went to Apollo and pleaded for answers to help his daughter, whom he loved so much, but only came back with the misfortune that lay for her. He was to arrange a funeral wedding, one in which she jumped off a cliff and devoted her love to Eros. Psyche honored the wishes and told her parents and sisters not to feel sad and mourn for her. She jumped off the craggy mountain, but not to her death, which everyone believed. Zephyr, a messenger of Eros, caught her and brought her to the most beautiful castle. She spent her days in luxury with all the riches, feasts, and sonnets. The only problem is that everyone who worked there was invisible, and she was also not allowed to look upon her husband. But she had to lay with him every night, which is kind of weird, in my opinion. Have sex with me every night. We will feed you. I will give you all the things. You will feel loved. I will whisper sweet nothings.
But you can't look at
but
me.
you can't look at me. I don't know. It's kind of sweet and kind of also alarming. He was caring and loving, though, and she loved her life and him in the truest of sense. but she did miss her family. It's all she had known. She begged to see her sisters, and after long warning about her inevitable fate, had she seen her sisters, she was allowed to spend time with them, treating them like queens in her home, telling them not to worry, that she is alive. Here are my riches. I want to share them with you. Take some home with you. But the only caveat was she wasn't allowed to tell them that she didn't know what her husband looked like. And the sisters were very curious. They thought that this was odd. When they left, they were really enraged and jealous, thinking she was being boastful when she was just trying to share the wealth that she developed. So they developed a plan to kind of take her down and humble her in the worst of sense. They met with her again and lied about Eros, said that he had gotten Psyche pregnant to make her a more voluptuous meal, that she had to listen to her loving sisters and kill him in the night as she slept, for he is monstrous. But the thing is, he warned her time and time again of her devious sisters, but she never knew them as that. So she didn't know what to think. And after pondering and thinking about it for a long time, she decided that her sisters have been nothing but good to her. So for fear and them spreading that fear, she decided, okay, fine, I guess I will kill him. But when she drew a light upon him in the middle of the night as he slept, showed how gorgeous he was. And as she did this, she accidentally pricked herself with the love arrow and fell even harder in love with the person that she saw before him. Unfortunately, he woke up and basically told her, because you didn't trust him and didn't listen and fell for the lies of her family, that she had to face the punishment, and that punishment was for him to leave her forever. So he got up and flew away. She chased after him, kind of fell down to earth near a river and talked to Pan. And Pan said, if you really love him, then find him and try this. But first, Psyche was extremely disappointed in her sisters and she was vengeful. So she cried to each of her sisters, saying that her husband wanted to marry each one of them instead. And she told them at different times. So each person, each sister said, yes, finally my chance to have all these riches and sonnets and feasts that I deserve, not my sister Psyche. So they all went to that craggy mountain. They declared their love and jumped off.
Yikes.
Right? No one caught them, clearly, because it was all of a ruse. So they fell to their death, mangled, and birds feeding on them, as well as other monsters that lay before it, like, right?
So she sacrificed her sisters.
She sacrificed her sister. She wanted to teach them a lesson. It was a permanent lesson.
Right.
Not one that they could learn from, right?
Maybe in the next life.
Maybe if anyone else knew about this plan. Everyone still thinks Psyche's dead, right? So Psyche wandered the earth in search of her dear husband, paying homage to any gods or goddesses she found, hoping that they might pity her or want to help her out. And also their temples and altars were kind of a mess and disarray, and she felt that it was really nice to kind of straighten it up. I guess she was all about organizing and cleaning.
Okay.
So meanwhile, Eros went to his mother, Venus, who sent people to find Psyche upon hearing of this mortal daughter-in-law. And he pleaded with Venus, but he was just so distraught. He didn't know what Venus had planned. So when Psyche inevitably went into the hands of Venus, she beat her and treated her like crap, saying really harsh things, and then finally said, fine, you want to be with him, then I'm going to make you carry out these impossible tasks, which she was able to complete with the helps of gods and ants, no less, and other people that have heard of her and felt love or respect for her. One of the final tasks was to go to the underworld to collect some beauty for Venus. But unfortunately, which I thought was weird, because if Venus is known for beauty, why did you have to go to the underworld to collect beauty? That was kind of like my first, like, this isn't adding up kind of story. But
maybe it's like a face cream. You gotta apply it.
maybe that's how she holds on to that. So she went down and she collected this box of beauty, but unfortunately, Psyche, again, a little too curious, opened this box and found out that it wasn't beauty, it was eternal sleep. And that's exactly what Venus was hoping for. This made it back to Eros, and once he heard of this, he pleaded with Jove, who eventually helped him under certain conditions that we will not talk about. They weren't that great, to get Psyche back so they could have an endless bond, as she was made to drink ambrosia and become a goddess herself and immortal. In the end, they faced many trials. We learned from this story that devotion is possible, that listening to outside voices can be detrimental to a relationship, but in some cases, others were helpful. I guess take outside advice with a grain of salt and communicate with your partner. Trust your partner. And I'd like to joke and just say, be careful of the mother-in-laws that might be jealous of the way they view you because they may view you as a threat. Right. And I like it too, is that she fell in love with him and all parts of him without even knowing what he looked like. So it was really his character and the way he treated her, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other takes on the story of like how you might feel about it?
I mean, it's nice to know what the whole package is, though, Like, I feel like, yes, beauty is from within, but there is something about attraction, right? Like,
Yes. Yeah. I don't think that it's vain to want to find someone physically attractive too, but that's not the only thing that we should look at. Yeah.
yeah,
And I like that.
I
And I don't
agree.
blame her for wanting to see what he looked like or to having curiosity.
Right. I
Just,
feel like that's a little unfair.
yeah, to have complete blind faith.
Yeah.
And like the person, oh, well, yeah, I don't need to question anything. He loves me. He treats me fine.
Right. Pass. So we'll start with how couples can celebrate Valentine's Day and can do it in a variety of ways depending on their preferences and interests. Here are some ideas for activities that couples can enjoy. If someone's love language is touch, celebrating Valentine's Day can be a wonderful opportunity to express love and affection, not infection.
Please don't get an infection. I'm keeping this, by the way. I'm not editing this.
I mean, valid. You want one, but not the other, because we're talking about physical and tactile things here. So you can have an intimate dinner. Physical closeness during the meal can enhance the connection. You could do a couples massage. You can exchange massages, or you can go to a place where you both get a massage at the same time. You can dance together or take a warm bubble bath. If you have a tub big enough, you could go outside and find a quiet spot away from the city and go stargazing. You can have some cuddle time. You can spend quality time cuddling on the couch
Just
or in
trying to
bed.
cuddle.
Physical closeness is the key. So focus on touch and affection. Go on an outdoor adventure, plan an activity together. You can visit a sanctuary garden and explore a sensory experience, touching the different plants and smelling the fragrances. I love this idea personally. I think I might just go with myself.
Right?
I probably do that once a week anyway. You can cook together. I do love doing this with my partner. We cook together a lot. And it's just fun. We can kind of work side by side, and it usually ends up with Jabin running out to the grocery store in the middle of us cooking because we need something, which is kind of fun too. Like there's a side quest involved. So make sure if you are going to do that and you're not as into doing side quests that you have everything prepared ahead of time. You have a plan and all of the ingredients you need because inevitably you'll forget something, or at least I do. And you could spend some time in an outdoor hammock, depending on where you are. This time of year, we're in the South, so that could be possible.
I love it. I love hammock time. It depends on the hammock if I want to cuddle with someone in it, though. Depends on how it's made.
I mean, technically, we have a hammock in our house, so we could do that too.
Right? And then dancing together, like you were talking about the sensory garden and cooking. I love cooking with someone, but dancing together is one of my favorite things. It's like very intimate to me. And someday I will have a date where I'm on the back of a truck in the truck bed out in the middle of nowhere, perfect horror scene, my horror murder scene, but laying out some blankets and pillows and looking up at the stars. Like this is one of my ideas I've had in my head probably since a teenager, and she's refusing to let it go.
When we visited Jabin's grandparents' tombstone, when we were out in Arizona, it had both of their names on it, and it said "Dancing Together Again."
Oh my gosh!
Because that was like a thing that they did. They
That was
went
a
out like
thing?
every Friday night
Oh
and
my God, you're
danced.
gonna make me cry. Stop.
That
Like,
was like their thing. It was really cute. And when we went out to his uncle took us out to dinner when we were out in Arizona, and everyone that we had talked to that he was like introducing us to, oh, your grandparents came here every Friday and danced together. It's like everyone knew them for that.
I think some of my favorite memories I've had with guys I've dated has been like just dancing in the house, whether it's silly and it eventually turns into like more intimate. And there's this song I think by the Civil Wars called Dance with Me to the End of Love. Is beautiful. I am so corny. This is the girl side coming.
I feel like this whole episode is just an advertisement for
Oh,
your next partner.
Okay, then I want. Oh Lord, I'm giving them all the tools and they still won't use it. Okay. Anyway,
Someone will get wise.
oh Lord help me before I'm like 60, please. Here are some ideas tailored for individuals whose primary love language is quality time that aren't previously mentioned. There's a tech-free day, a dedicated day to being present with each other, putting away phones or electronic devices. I definitely recommend this even on dates. I put do not disturb on. I just think it's important to be there. I've definitely had a long-term partner who I will not name who was with me and they worked all the time. And even the waiter was like, you have a beautiful girl in front of you and you're on your phone right now.
That's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. So that I think that's very important to me. I don't know if it has to be the whole day, but if you're having an intimate moment,
we have
pay attention.
A no phones at the table policy in our house, and we eat together every night because I think it's really important. There's a lot of science that backs that up too. But
yeah, I like to be present when I can. A scenic drive or a walk to engage in deep conversations and enjoy each other's company. Board games, puzzle, trivia allows for quality time while having fun and learning to cooperate. I think that's a really fun one. Spending time exploring and discussing favorite books, records, or just new ones by going to a book or record store. It's kind of like a low key yet enriching experience. I love music, so I think that'd be really fun to go in and like maybe pick a favorite record together or something and play it.
yeah, when I was in my early 20s, that was always my first date. I would go to coffee and a bookstore.
Yeah, that sounds good. You can know a lot about a person by their taste in music or books.
Exactly.
Especially if they don't read.
Oh, that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, the other ones are art or craft idea. So engage in like painting, drawing, or crafting. It's an opportunity for self-expression. Visiting a museum or gallery to discuss the exhibits and share your thoughts and impressions. And it doesn't have to be like really formal. I think one of my favorite things that I see on Instagram is that one guy who just seems to seamlessly pull it out of nowhere, where he like points to the paintings like in the face and he's like creating characters out of them and like creating these stories, and it's hilarious. So go there and like appreciate the art, but also have fun maybe making fun of it or like creating like the backdrop, like what was the true reason for this painting or something.
Did you see that Modern Family episode where I think it was like Mitch and Cam and Alex and Manny all go to the art museum and they're all trying to like one up each other or like leave?
They leave because they feel like they're like
someone's being pretentious about knowing more, or they want to know more than the other person. So it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to be, doesn't have to be a pretentious experience.
Oh, if someone was pretentious, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, that's kind of cool orange color. And walk away. Like I would just do something on purpose to be like, I'm not trying to be a genius today. We're trying to have a good time. So yeah, another thing is like attend a workshop or class. I've definitely taught environmental education classes and gone to them where like couples go, and that's like their date night. They go and learn about like monarch butterflies, and then they get like dinner after and discuss what they thought of it. Knowledge sharing, it's very sexy. Nature hike or picnic. So spend time outdoors. The tranquil setting provides a great backdrop for quality conversations. Plan adventures together. Sometimes it's really fun to just kind of think about maybe planning a trip that year or in future years, or just talking about things that you want to do or would enjoy doing together. And, visiting a coffee shop or brewery, tried and true, leisure afternoon. If you guys have busy schedules that week, just taking a moment to nourish yourself and engage in conversation is really good.
Right. If someone's love language is words of affirmation, celebrating Valentine's Day involves expressing love and affection through verbal communication. Some ideas tailored to those individuals could be handwritten love letters, poetry reading. I had a boyfriend that wrote me sonnets once. I think I still
Really?
have one. And he wrote them like
Aw.
in calligraphy. They were lovely. They were lovely. So, fellows, if you're listening, sonnets, you can create a memory jar.
They're like, yeah.
So you just write down special moments and you put it in the jar when you're thinking about it, like reasons why you love each other or just little small notes. And then when you're having a hard time, you can go back to that jar and read those things. And sometimes it can help like course correct your spiraling, right? Like you're just like, I'm so upset right now. And then you can go back and check in on that. And then the same thing with like a compliment jar. You could probably just make a jar of positivity, right? Let's just make a positivity jar of like memories, compliments, and just little things that you admire, their strengths, their positive qualities. Because sometimes it's hard to see someone's positive qualities when you're with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a customized playlist. If you can't say it or if someone else has said it better already, you can steal their art via song and make a playlist. You can get a book of love quotes. Rumi has a really great one. It's like little Zen poems.
Yeah.
Or you can write your own.
Right. I think any of those would be if someone wrote something to me or someone said, I read this the other day and I thought of you, I think they're both equally as effective.
Right?
Yeah. I used to love getting custom playlists of like these songs made me think of you. And some they weren't always romantic. They were always, like they were just hilarious or funny. Or I had something my friends would say. I have my friend Kim and Tammy. They would in high school. They would always be like, "Your song. We always think of you when we hear the song. When I think of you, I touch myself." They just because I did some weird dance routine in the car with them one time, and then it just never stopped. It was just this endless joke, probably still going on to this day.
Very much a Torian thing, though. That tracks.
Yeah. If someone's love language is acts of service, thoughtful gestures and actions that demonstrate care and consideration are important. Let's look at some ideas for that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else under every pronoun. Breakfast in bed or a home cooked meal. Surprise your partner with a meal. It could be as simple as toast or coffee, or it can be more elaborate. I love this one. This is a huge one. I like everything. Can you guys tell already? But yeah,
I don't. I do not want to be eating in my bed. I don't want people to bring me stuff in bed. No,
yeah.
thank you. Like I like my food hot, and I don't want to feel like I'm gonna make a mess.
Yeah,
So,
true. I don't like crumbs in bed,
right?
but
It depends on what it is.
But if you make me something, if I don't have to make a meal, like I have to make a meal every single day, 3 times a day for everyone else.
Yeah, no, I love when people cook for me, but do not bring it to me when I'm in bed. No, thank you. So you might want to check and make sure that's something that somebody's into.
Exactly. Chore takeovers or take care of responsibilities. So handle some of your partner's responsibilities or commitments for the day to give them a break. It could be work-related tasks, childcare duties, or any other obligations. Again, don't ask them what they need. I think we've said this earlier in the podcast, like pay attention, even if you're like paying attention a few days beforehand and find out what they do every day and what you think you can successfully accomplish.
Absolutely.
Even if it's one task.
Because I was about to interject if you didn't say anything.
No, you know.
This is,
I have a hard time.
The mental load is way more important to recognize. Like if you just say, is there anything I can do to help? No, thank you.
Yeah, when the kids ask to like, they're very nice, but they're asked like, can I put the stuff in the dryer? And if I have to explain, like, don't ever put my tops in the dryer or don't, like, if I have to go through that whole, I'm like, no, that's just not one that I really want anyone to do for me. It would take me the same amount of time to explain it. Yeah, help with a project. Assist your partner with a project they've been working on, whether it's a home improvement task, a creative endeavor, a work-related project. Your support will always be appreciated. I feel like that's something you and Jabin do a lot.
Yeah, we do a lot of projects
together. Yeah. You guys tackle that stuff like the house really well. And babysitting. So if applicable, offer to it's funny, right? The phrasing is terrible, right?
Okay, because I was going to say, are we talking about your own kids? Because if it's your own kids, you're not babysitting.
Right. But I think that's the only how else would you rephrase that? Because I hear you on that. I used to hate it when people would be like, "Oh yeah, he's watching your kids, or he's watching the kids. That's great." I'm like, "Yeah, it's part of his job too. Who said that? Like that this is
Right.
the woman's job to always be the one that watches the kids." So yeah, I don't like the whole babysitting. I don't know how else to phrase offer to watch the kids
Just
or
say, I've
arrange for
got the
childcare.
kids.
Yeah.
You do this.
Yeah.
Maybe even instead of babysitting, you schedule the thing. Like if you know your partner likes to get a pedicure, you can be like, hey, I scheduled you a pedicure Saturday at 3 o'clock. I've got the kids.
I've
Go
got the
do
kids.
this.
Yes. Or arrange for childcare for a night out. I know there's childcare places that are drop off and you can just fill it out, drop off the kids
Right.
for a few hours and leave.
Once again, that is the mental load, right? Taking
Mm-hmm.
care when you say, hey, I got us a date, and then your partner's like, oh, I've got to find childcare. You say, I've already got it taken care of.
Oh, that would be, I mean, that's a guarantee lay that night, I think. That's, I don't have to put work except trying on something. Oh, wait, you got, no, I'm just kidding. Don't buy me clothes. I mean, like for a minute, oh, you picked out my outfit? I'd be like, no. I like to do that. But yeah, that's really cool. So acts of service are basically about making life easier and more enjoyable for your partner. Tailor your gestures specific to their needs and preferences, showing them that you care through thoughtful actions.
All right. So if someone's love language is gifts, I mean, that's kind of an obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some ways to do that to make it a little more standouty, I guess. Like give it a little more sparkle.
I like that.
You can find something personalized if you choose something that reflects your partner's interests or personal style. It could be a custom piece of jewelry, a gift basket with their favorite snacks and treats. Ooh, I would like that. A surprise
Mm-hmm.
delivery of flowers, chocolate at their workplace or at home. Subscription box, that's a good idea. That aligns with their hobbies and interests, or like a book club situation where they send them like a book every month. An experience gift, like tickets to a concert or a cooking class or a weekend getaway. So the focus is on creating shared memories. And then a favorite book or collector's item. You find a special edition of their favorite book or search for a collector's item related to a hobby or interest that they're passionate about. Remember, the key to gift giving is understanding your partner's preferences and selecting items that resonate with them personally, not just giving them things. The thought and effort put into this gift often matter more than the price tag. I know a lot of people choose to purchase flowers this time of year. Kerri, do you have any suggestions on choosing flowers to make them more meaningful?
Yeah. Oh, and I just want to go back to the basket. Like those are the hottest items when you go to like silent auctions and stuff. So that I mean, that is
Yes.
always I think everyone, guys and girls, love that. A random assortment of your favorite things.
Right?
Like guys, you could get whatever their favorite snack is, beer, whatever, throw it all in.
And
Yeah.
then it's like a
It's
little
a
dopamine hit, right? Each one's like,
yes.
ooh, ooh, ooh.
Right? Yeah, it's wonderful. And I remember my brother got a subscription box to like way back in the day, 20 something years ago, where he got this thing from a friend that was a beer of the month or
Yeah.
something.
Beer of the
So,
month club
but he
situation.
would always film it for his friends.
Oh,
So, like,
nice.
because he was in his 20s, he's
Right.
goofy. So he would like drink it, and the drunker he got, the more interesting the video got. And then he would send it to them and say thank you. And he would go, I mean, this is a little bit like he just try to sound really pretentious. It's the Aquarian in him. Okay, anyways. So, yeah, yes, I do. Not every person may like red roses or the typical choices. To make it more thoughtful or unique to your partner, you might want to look online about the language of flowers. It also doesn't hurt to know their favorite flowers, but sometimes those are not in season. For example, my favorite flower is the lilac. I grew up in the lilac city in New Hampshire, and the growing season is long there, and the city is just filled with a beautiful scent throughout the majority of the year. Unfortunately, they do not grow in the southeast of the United States for very long. I personally don't expect lilacs, but red roses are kind of a bit generic to me. I kind of hate to say that, but they do. Everyone gets them. That doesn't mean that others feel that way, but if someone even had one flower from a love language of flowers in my bouquet and told me in a small card, it would have made a very good impact. So, what is the language of flowers? Well, it's also known as florography. It's a form of communication through the use of flowers and their symbolic meanings. This floral communication system gained popularity during the Victorian era, primarily in the 19th century, although its roots can be traced even further. The use of flowers to convey messages has ancient roots, with evidence suggesting that various cultures, such as the Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, and Chinese, used flowers for symbolic purposes. One of the earliest references to the language of flowers can be found in the Persian culture during the 17th century. Persians developed a system known as salam, where each flower had a specific meaning. The language of flowers peaked during the Victorian era in England, as I mentioned, but this period was characterized by strict social conventions and the repression of emotions. As a result, individuals turn to the more subtle symbolic meaning of expressing feelings, including the exchange of flowers. Several floral dictionaries and guides were published during that era to help people navigate the meanings associated with the different flowers. One notable example is specifically called Language of Flowers by Charlotte de la Tour, published in 1819. So flowers are basically chosen for their specific meanings, colors, and arrangements. For example, red roses symbolize love and passion, while yellow roses represent friendship. The combination of flowers and bouquets could convey a more complex message. It allowed individuals to express sentiments discreetly and with subtlety.
Ooh, I know one. The blue cornflower or the bachelor buttons
Yes.
were tucked in the little, what is this called? Is this a boutonniere?
Boutonniere, I
They were
think. Yeah.
tucked in the little boutonnieres to signal to ladies that they were eligible.
Eligible. Yeah, I love things like that. it takes it out whether you think a cute guy is available or not. Although we're not going to go down there. We're not going down that rabbit hole. But with the end of this era, the changing in social norms and the popularity of language of flowers gradually declined. However, some elements of florography have persisted. Certainly, in certain flowers, still carry traditional meanings today. While the language of flowers may not be widely practiced in modern times, the symbolism and cultural significance of certain flowers continue to play a role in various celebrations, including Valentine's Day. And honestly, I think this is one practice that should have never died out. It's like sending love notes in a secret language only meant for you and the other person. I don't think it's difficult to just quickly look in a book and be like, ooh, most of the books literally you can write love. You go in the back index for love and it'll show you like 6 flowers. And you just grab that one flower and have that one flower just go with other bouquets and write a little card and say, like, this means this. And that's why I put it in there. Like, whew, just saying. So romantic love, you have the classic red roses, like I said, means deep love and passion. You could opt for pink roses, which is for a blossoming romance. Camellias mean longing for you. And dahlia means eternal love and commitment. Dogwood, our love will overcome adversity. And honeysuckle means devotion and affection. Lilac means first love and reminiscence. Orange blossom means eternal love, and pansy means you occupy my thoughts. Now, tulips mean I declare my love for you, and paired with dahlias, which means eternal love and commitment, is great for new engaged couples. Do you guys kind of see how you can work in pair and how they mean certain things or might be good for new loves and old loves? How about self-love?
Oh, for self-love, you could use lily of the valley for return to happiness. Iris, which I personally love irises. It's valor, wisdom, and faith that will lead to their success. Chamomile with laurel is energy to overcome hardship, and orchid is elegance and beauty. For friendship, apple blossoms is preference. Zinnia is everlasting friendship, and mixed with apple blossom signifies besties.
Mm-hmm.
I will be expecting a bouquet of apple blossoms and zinnias from you.
I'll get right on that.
Sweet pea is thank you for a lovely time. For familia love, carnations is mother's eternal love. So carnations for Mother's Day is like a thing. So I feel like there's some carryover here. But it can also mean heartache, like a piece of my heart will always be with you. Okay, that tracks. Queen Anne's lace is sanctuary. This is the forger in me, but if you're getting Queen Anne's lace, make sure you're getting it from like an actual florist. If you're getting your own Queen Anne's lace, please make sure you know how to identify it properly because it also looks like poison hemlock. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Don't consume.
Happy foraging, don't
Or your
die.
love will be eternal.
Yes, permanently. Heather is luck and protection. Remember to emphasize the flexibility of flower choices and arrangements based on individual preferences and the type of love or connection someone wants to celebrate. I used to know someone at Omega, and his entire job was to make these amazing like floral sculptures in like the dining room and different places around. He would just make like little altars of flowers everywhere, and I'm sure they all had some kind of meaning and that kind of stuff. But he has a book that I will put in the notes, and I couldn't recommend it more. I think it's called Being with Flowers. Yes, Being with Flowers by Anthony Ward. It's really good. So you can use this not necessarily just to communicate with other people, but on your altars and communicating with yourself and using the language of flowers and their energy and vibration to manifest things. I know, I'm going way off script here.
No, you're fine.
Remember, the most important thing is to choose activities that resonate with both partners and contribute memorable and enjoyable experience. Ensure that they align with your personal comfort level and preferences. And the key is to celebrate love in a way that feels authentic and special to you and your partner. So you can keep a note on your phone to jot down things that your partner has needed or expressed interest in. It's a simple yet impactful way to show you're attuned to their desires.
And also make sure it's their comfort level and preferences as well. Like when you guys choose what you want. I'm more sociable, but I tend to date introverts, so I always have to keep them in mind.
Yes, we do need recharge time, or if where we're going has a pet, that's a bonus.
Right?
Has to be an emotional support animal. All right. Well, that's it for our special episode on reframing Valentine's Day. We hope that we offered some fun and enlightening insights into celebrating and honoring yourself, your friendships, and your partners.
Before we forget, we've crafted 2 Spotify playlists for partners. One, Cupid's Concerto, Strings Attached. We were going to use Romeo's remix, Beats of Passion, but that screamed playa. So you're welcome. Enjoy this playlist of slow jams and upbeat love songs to explore the importance of love. Need to set the mood for intimacy? Try R&B. Check out our Silk Sheet Serenades, sensual soundscapes. Yes, it's more than 45 songs, but I believe in you. L believes in you. Believe in yourself.
You were so chuffed about this. I love it.
Until next time. And that brings us to the end of another soul-soothing journey with Seasonal Reflections. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to show us some love. Hit that like button, subscribe to our podcast for more enriching content, and join the Seasonal Reflections community on Instagram at Seasonal Reflections.
Looking to infuse your days with the perfect seasonal sounds? Find our curated playlists on Spotify by searching Seasonal Reflections. From vibrant Beltane melodies to the cozy tunes of Yule, we've got the soundtrack to accompany every moment. Your support means the world to us.
Until next time, fellow nature lovers and cosmic dreamers,
stay rooted, stay curious, and most importantly,
stay wild.